So for this, you're going to need to pick your yarns, and this is good to do with if you have any leftover or scrap yarns, because it doesn't require a lot of yarn at all. So you'll need black, white, and red for the eyeballs. But you can customize it and pick whatever color eye you want. So with this video, I'm going to be showing green, but you can also do blue, brown. You can even go crazy and do orange and purple to make it more festive and Halloween-like. But you can choose whatever color that you want. Then you're going to need a small amount of fiber fill per eye. So about this, it's like a small little handful, and this is for each eyeball. You will need this. Your needles, we're going to be using size 7 double pointed needles. You will need 4 of them, 3 to hold your stitches and 1 as your working needle. You will also need a stitch marker and a sewing needle. So to begin, you're going to take your black and we're going to cast on 6 stitches. So you want 2 per double pointed needle. So we have 2, then we grab our next needle and we're going to add 2. These are really easy to make, and they get easier the more you make, and they're actually really fun. So you'll find yourself wanting to make a whole jar full of eyeballs. So once you have all 6 on, you're going to want to take the tail and make sure that it stays out, because we will need this to sew up the very center when we're all done. Make sure they're arranged straight on your needle. Now our first row is going to start off with an increase row. So I'm going to be doing yarn over increases and then closing them on the second round. If you'd rather do knit in the front and back, you can, or even you can do a make one where you pull up the horizontal bar. I just find using small amount of stitches with such big needles, it's easier to do the yarn over method. So we're going to go ahead and start by knitting 1, then we're going to yarn over, so that's our increase. Then you're going to place your marker, and I find it easier to place it after the yarn over just because later on it works better with removing the stitch marker. Then we're going to knit 1 and yarn over, and because our yarn over is on the end of our needle, just keep an eye that it doesn't slip off. So make sure you keep your yarn over and go behind your needle. Then we're going to repeat on the next needle. So keeping your yarn over there, we're going to go ahead and knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. Alright, then on our last needle, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. Now this one's the trickier one to keep on, but you just have to watch what you're doing. Make sure that you don't lose that yarn over stitch. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut and release from the black yarn. And we'll be cutting throughout this pattern and knotting our ends together so that we don't have to sew it up later. Since it is such a small project, it's really hard to get your hands in there. So now we're going to be moving on to the iris color. So we're going to go ahead and pick up our green or whatever color you decided. Leave a small tail on the inside. And for this row, we're just going to knit across. And because we did the yarn over increases, make sure to knit through the back loop of your yarn overs to close it. So go through the back of your yarn over to close your stitch, pass your slip marker, knit, and then go behind to close your yarn over. So now that we've worked at least 1 needle worth of our new color, we're going to go ahead and knot our ends. So we have our yarn over coming around on our last black stitch. So what we're going to do is knot it together with the green. So you have your yarn over coming over your needle here. We're going to grab the tail end of our green, and we're just going to make a knot. Pulling it tight, but making sure we don't mess up with our yarn over. Then you want to double knot, like so, and that's going to keep us from having to sew our stitches up later. So once you've worked your plain row of knit, adding in your new color, we're going to go ahead and work row 3 with our next increase. So you want to start with a repeat of knit 1, yarn over for your increase, knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, and repeat that around. That's going to take our count to 18. Then after that, you're going to go ahead and cut your color, and we're going to start bringing in our white. So you can leave a small tail in the back of white, and we're going to begin by just doing a plain knit row and closing up our increased yarn overs. We're just going to work our way all the way around. Then once you've made it all the way around, then you're just going to tie your green and white tail together. Just going to knot it so we don't end up with any gaps in our work. Alright, now we're going to work on our next increase round, and this is going to take us to 24 stitches. So we're going to start with a repeat of knit 2, yarn over increase, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. Then after this, we're just going to work 2 plain knit rows. So now we're to this point of our eyeball. Now we're going to begin with our decreases. So this decrease is going to take us back down to 18 stitches. It's going to start with a repeat of knit 1, knit 2 together, knit 2, knit 2 together, knit 1. Going to repeat that all the way around and then work 1 plain knit row. So now we're going to clip our white yarn and we're going to add in our red. And we're going to do another decrease row, which will take us to 12 stitches. So what we're going to do is start with a repeat of knit 1, knit 2 together, knit 2 together, knit 1. Then make sure to tie your white and red tails together. Now we're going to do a plain knit row. Now we're going to knit 2 together all the way around. So we're just going to start by knitting 2 together. Then you can drop your stitch marker at this point. And then just repeat it across. And this will take us down to 6 stitches. Alright, so now if you want, you can cut the tails if you have really long ones. Then you're just going to stuff the remainder inside. Now we're going to take that little bit of fluff that we have for the filling. I'm going to go ahead and stuff it all the way in. And you can go by how tight or squishy you want this to be. But I find a little handful like that is perfect. It fills it out just nice, but it's not too hard. Alright, then for our next row after we fill it, we're going to do knit 2 togethers all the way around. So we're going to take us down to 3 stitches. So you want to make sure when working this round that you don't grab any of the fiber fill in your stitches. You can just pull them out later, but it will get caught up in the front and you'll see them. So just try to keep your fiber fill out of the way. And we're also going to be moving all stitches to 1 needle. So we'll just knit 2 together all the way around. Alright, then from here we're going to begin an I cord for the tail end of our eye. So when you have finished that row, your yarn will be on the left side of your needle. So you're just going to go ahead and slide the eye to the other side, and you're not going to turn your work. So I'll have a video down below on how to make an I cord so you can have a better understanding of it. So for our first row for the I cord, we're going to start off by knitting 2 together because we only want to work with 2 stitches and we have 3. So we're going to knit 2 together, knit 1. Now don't turn your work, slide it to the other side of your needle and just continue in an I cord for however long you want it to be. I go about 10 rows. I find that gives it enough where it doesn't just stick out, because if it's too short it'll look stiff. So you want it long enough where it just lays naturally. But you can also judge by what you're making these for. Even if you want to go ahead and skip out on the red and just finish off with white and just have the eyeball itself, you can go ahead and do that too. These are completely customizable, changing the color, changing whether there's an ending or not. It's all up to you and what you're planning on using these for. So we're just going to keep going until we reach the length that we want. Then once you got the length that you want, then you're going to go ahead and cut your red yarn and thread it onto a needle. Then what you're going to do is, as if you were continuing in the I cord method, so the tail's coming out from the left, you're going to go over to the right and you're going to slip off both stitches, and then you're going to pull the ends closed. Now you can decide what you want to do here with the tail. I find just a knot is what I prefer the way it looked. You can go ahead and weave this down in if you want, or depending on what you're making, you can just go ahead and tack this on using the red thread. But I just like to put a knot as close to the tail as I can, and then just snip it off like that, and then just cut it. So now what you're going to do is thread the black from the center of our eye, like so, and then it's pretty much going to look this way on anyone, but you just want to close it. There's just an opening right there, you can't really see, but it's pretty much across from where the tail is coming out. So you just want to go across from that, go through like this, and just pull it closed. Then you're just going to feed your yarn through, and then I like to just pull really tight, cut the tail, and then when you let go, it just pulls it inside, and then you don't have to worry about weaving in that tiny little end. And there is your finished eyeball. Kind of gross, huh? So then you can go ahead and make the second eye to match. You can also make different colors like I mentioned before. So you can have purple and blue. You can go for more of a yellowish green or a brown, or even orange, anything you want. And you can make as many or as little as you like. You can set them up on tables to scare your guests, or even give them out as trick or treats. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Miss Peregrine's spooky eyeball inspired tutorial. Please let me know down below if you make them and what colors and what you're planning on using them for. Hope you guys have fun making this one and have a spooky Halloween.